So yeah, FYI, this video was supposed to be done like last week, but a bunch of things got in the way. Obviously, the Selvaria boss fight ended up being much harder than I expected it to be. I got invited to a podcast, that was pretty cool. General life and work and stuff. And so this video is several weeks late. Much like the Tekken 7 review, which I just now started working on. I'm not very good at this sometimes. What's up guys, it's me Zero to Make Kitsune, and today I want to talk about a kinda sad, kinda happy ending subject. So recently I released my Big Bang Age review. It was a pretty fun game, I recommend checking out the video if you haven't seen it. And sadly, about 4 hours after the review was up, it got struck down and removed, and I got a community guideline strike. Beautiful. Luckily, after I appealed it, I got it back within 4 days. So that was pretty cool. It got put on a, age restricted mode, so I can't put ads on it, but the review's still up. I'm happy at that. Count your blessings. But I thought this would be a pretty cool opportunity just to talk about my current thoughts on YouTube. So when it comes to things like the adpocalypse, that, well, to be put, it sucks. Not necessarily just for the whole people are going after YouTube and YouTube's getting its ads taken away, which is affecting a lot of creators on this, but I just think the overall climate of the world right now, where people are going after the advertisers instead of, directly combating the words of people they disagree with. You can see people going after advertisers in other medias, and I'm not saying whether or not they deserve it. That would be a conversation for a completely another day, but I do believe that the tactic itself is a bit underhanded. I would much rather people who disagreed with someone, talk to them, have a conversation. But that's sadly not the day and age we live in, apparently. The next thing I want to talk about is YouTube's policy changes. Now this is a little bit more recent, but it worries me simply because of how vague it's written out. And they talk about extremist content, but they also bring up anything that doesn't technically break their community guidelines, and that worries me because that's saying if you don't break the rules but people just don't like you, then we're still gonna potentially apply this stuff. Now they say they're just doing it on extremist videos, but push come to shove, who knows how they're gonna implement something so vague. And the idea that their plan for this is to basically cut off any sort of recommendation. They're not gonna actually remove the video because they know that's opening up a can of worms that they don't like to open up when you're removing videos that technically don't break guidelines. But they're saying we're just gonna basically cut your video off at the legs. We're gonna make it so it's hard to search for it, so people can't endorse it, they can't like, they can't comment, they can't subscribe. I mean, they can still subscribe, but the like and comment is important because that's how the algorithms work to help people find the video. So they're saying we just don't want other people to find the video. Sure, you've got subs that'll see it, but as long as we can make it so the mass majority of people can't see your content, then we're okay. Which again is a bit shady and underhanded. And I think that's really how I feel about, YouTube's decisions lately. It feels a bit shady and underhanded no matter what they're doing. The way they want to combat things that in some ways are actual problems, they don't want to do it in a way that makes them look good. Or maybe they just can't think of a way to make them look good while doing this. They just end up looking, once again, shady and underhanded. And from there, the obvious question comes up, how do up-and-coming channels, survive in this current climate, this current condition? And since I'm not a huge successful YouTuber yet, I can't talk from the top of the hill saying, oh, this is the type of rope I use to climb. Nah, instead I'm just trying to climb up the hill with my bare hands, and I'll tell you what kind of gloves I wear. Or what kind of gloves I should wear. But yeah, the way I see it is going to be harder to work in, just in general. That's a given. But one important thing I think should be addressed is it's not necessarily all YouTube's fault. And it's because I have a similar theory with YouTube as I do with when it comes to Steam, is that it's just such a saturated market at this point you've really got to kind of find your niche and really use outside means to draw attention to whatever you're doing. Like a channel on YouTube is a drop in the bucket, but you've got to find a way to color that drop, and then you've got to find a way to get people some microscopes so they can see that drop. That's the best analogy I can think of at the moment. So using outside means is probably really important. It's actually something I should work harder to capitalize on, using things like Reddit, Twitter, opening up Patreons. That kind of stuff is very important, especially the Patreon part. Now, the way I see it, opening up a Patreon, I think from now on should be the first thing a channel that's trying to get serious, or maybe even a level of casual activity, should do. They should open up a Patreon, say, hey, if you like my work, maybe $1. $1 is not a lot. You can't even buy candy nowadays for just $1, which is kind of sad actually. But yeah, something simple like that. And maybe if you're trying to build up a serious channel, then you start saying, $5 do this, $10 do that, and you get all these rewards and such. But a base level Patreon will help shield you against, some of YouTube's monetization decisions. But aside from things like Patreon, again, try to make yourself some sort of presence on the internet in general. And one last thing when it comes to up and coming channels I think should be noted is don't expect fame instantaneously. Now, you see those success stories of channels that exploded upon the scene and all that such, and that's really cool. But the way I see it, you shouldn't expect that. If it happens, yay, amazing, good. But otherwise, you should really just try to, slowly build up. Get those subs one at a time. Hopefully 1 turns to 10 at a time and 10 turns to 100. But start slow. Don't expect nothing. Just try to create good content. Maybe even encourage the few people who do see your content to share it with some friends, because that always does help. A solid base community is probably whatever YouTuber going forward should be striving for at the beginning. Once you get that solid base, then you get the thousands of subscribers who only watch 1 or 2 videos. Or at least that's how I see it. Again, I'm on the mountain, and I do believe anyone can make the climb if they simply try for long enough. If they simply try long enough. And one more thing when it comes to YouTube and its, decisions and how I feel about current YouTube is specifically YouTube heroes and community guideline strikes, comparing them to copyright strikes. Now, I haven't gotten a copyright strike, but I've had plenty of videos copyright claimed. And as far as I know, it's a fairly decent process. You upload a video, it tells you almost instantaneously whether you've got some sort of music that someone else owns, etc, etc. Sometimes it can suck when a video uses some free to use music that you found, and then later it gets claimed by some sort of music company, and good for the person who made that music. But aside from that, it tells you, and then it tells you whether or not you can share the revenue or if they're just going to disable ads, and then that's kind of it. It even shows you where inside the video that offending music is, and sometimes will offer to mute it. So there's a lot of stuff in there, and you can still appeal if you think you're in the right for using that. You can still appeal and all that good stuff. But when it comes to community guideline strikes, you get nothing. Really, your video shows up, a few hours later, boom, your video has been removed for breaking community guideline strikes. And you, the person who uploaded the video, are left wondering, where, when? Can you show me the portion of the video that broke the community guidelines? And your only reply is silence. You're asked, do you want to appeal the video? And obviously you're gonna say yes. And to be fair to YouTube, appealing is, from my understanding, a human process. Someone looks at your video and makes the call. And at least in the case of my review, maybe this won't be the case next time it happens. Hopefully it doesn't happen at all, but they looked at it, they said, hey, it can stay, no ads. So the end result was okay. But really, dealing with the whole lack of information, lack of clarity, it was very frustrating compared to copyright strikes. And hopefully in the future, YouTube will make a change to fix that. And on that note, I want to say one thing before going to my little final subject. I do believe that if YouTube really wanted to separate, certain mature contents from innocent ears, I guess. Innocent ears, innocent eyes. They would make it so age restricted mode had its own sort of ads. You know, just go to the advertiser and say, hey, this is gonna be mature videos only. You wanna show some mature ads? Some ads for some cigarettes, for some beer, I don't know, some boobs and bacon, you know, Super Bowl ads basically. And I think that would help because then you're not discouraging content creators from willingly age restricting their own videos. Because right now, age restricted mode is effectively a punishment. A punishment that some people willingly place upon themselves, or a punishment that YouTube places on certain videos. And if it wasn't a punishment, people would do it willingly. And then YouTube would have much less of a problem. But that's how I see it. The last thing I want to talk about though is what changes are going to have to be made for my channel. And to be real, not any of this is set in stone, it's just things I'm thinking about, things to both protect my channel, and it's not doom and gloom, I promise you. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm just gonna have to stop reviewing Arrowgate, guys. Oh, I'm not gonna show you any more mods that uncensor a censored game. No. First of all, a sort of greater emphasis on trying to improve my Patreon. I'm gonna try to do stuff to make it so there's actual reasons to, you know, donate to Patreon. Whether it be make better videos, that's the obvious one, or give certain incentives. Maybe, you know, at the end of the video, you see people's names on whoever supported the channel. That's always good. That kind of stuff. I'll try to think of more of those and add them to the channel. Next thing is potentially making a second channel strictly for the Let's Plays, because I don't really back up any of the content on my channel except for the reviews. I don't have the hard drive space, and I can't really shell out the cash at the moment to buy a huge 6TB portable hard drive just for storing videos. So a second channel just for the Let's Plays, that way it can be protected in case my channel gets, you know, the almighty 3 strikes and you're out for the reviews, and that way the Let's Play stays safe. So that one's really simple. The third thing, and this is the one I'm really hesitant about and gonna have to weigh the pros and cons of, is simply increasing the censorship in any videos that involve that kind of stuff. Maybe instead of using my handmade little censorship bubble that I really thought was nice and thought it was pretty cool, just use plain old mosaics because they're boring and they look ugly. Ugh. But yeah, that's the kind of things I'm thinking of maybe changing. Again, like I said, it's not doom and gloom. It's not changing the channel. It's simply maybe altering course just a slight bit to stay safe. And again, all that stuff is potentially thinking about. So leave in the comment section what you think should be done. Do you think YouTube's BS right now is not the end of times, but at the same time, everything's not hunky-dory when it comes to YouTube? Either way, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.